What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video where we will discuss Timo Werner and his release clause, which has been revealed by newspapers. The Mirror is reporting that Liverpool and Manchester United want to sign Timo Werner as early as January. Werner scored 3 goals and got 3 assists in one game where Leipzig demolished Mainz 8-0, and Werner now has 13 goals in just 15 games this season. So he is one of the most informed strikers in world football right now. Let me know, do you want Liverpool to sign him? And his release clause, I think, is very juicy, so make sure to listen to this video carefully because we will talk about him. We will talk about the injury updates on Liverpool, on Manchester City, because there is a starting Manchester City midfielder potentially not available for the Liverpool-Manchester City game. Werner wanted to move last summer, but no club came in for him who excited Timo Werner to move to. So what he did is signed a new contract with Leipzig, so they don't lose him for nothing, but they inserted a release clause of just £27 million for a striker who is worth probably £60 million. That's an absolute bargain in my opinion. And of course Werner would have liked maybe to sign for Bayern Munich, but Bayern would never sign Timo Werner when Lewandowski is still banging in the goals. I mean, Lewandowski already has like 20 goals this season, so he's even in more red hot form than Werner. And according to the Mirror newspaper, Manchester United also want to sign Timo Werner. Of course, Jurgen Klopp is a long-time admirer and Liverpool are keeping tabs on the situation, and I think we wanted to move for Werner next summer, but this interest from Manchester United could accelerate that and maybe could force Liverpool into action in the January transfer window, because we can't let Werner sign for Manchester United, our greatest rivals, in the January transfer window. And what makes Manchester United attractive for Werner is that they have a lot of money, so they can offer him a huge wage, and also they can offer him a starting striker place in their team. But other than that, Manchester United are not very attractive at the moment. They are in mid-table in the Premier League, already 10 points off the top 4 places, which is absolutely massive. I mean, I can't believe that Manchester United and Tottenham are already 10 points behind the likes of Leicester and Chelsea, and behind the top 4 places. Those two teams at the moment sit in the top 4. And of course, Man United would promise Timo Werner the absolute world, that they will get back to the top. But that could take years. And I think Timo Werner needs to be very, very careful on his next career choice. Because yes, Werner is just 23 years old and he still has a lot of years ahead of him. But if, Manchester United's problems won't be solved with just Timo Werner. They have massive problems in midfield, in defense, and actually I think Manchester United, going forward, they have pretty exciting strikers, Martial and Rashford and Daniel James. But the midfield and the defense is very weak, so signing Timo Werner wouldn't solve that. And I think that Werner could look at potentially staying at the club for 2 or 3 years before actually getting into the Champions League, before actually even challenging for the title. That could even be as far away as 3 or 4 seasons for Manchester United. On the other hand, Liverpool is right now in absolutely red hot form. We collected, if you take a look at the last 1.5 seasons, so in 50 games, if you average that down to a 38 game Premier League season, we are collecting 100 points per season in the last 50 games, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. More than 2.5 points per game for Liverpool. And of course, we are still unbeaten since we lost to Manchester City away from home last season. But our next game is also against Manchester City. But if we can win that, Liverpool could really be looking at a 9-point gap and potentially being massive favorites for the title. And imagine if Werner joins Liverpool in the January transfer window. That would ease my fears of one of our attacking players potentially getting an injury, like Mohamed Salah has been nursing an ankle knock and he has been pretty off color lately. I think Jurgen Klopp might even rest Salah for the Genk game, because I think we can beat Genk in the Champions League without Salah, and then Salah can come back fully rested against Manchester City. So Timo Werner, let's look at his career so far. He started off at Stuttgart in 2013-14. He played 3 seasons there, then he was signed by Leipzig, and since he has been at Leipzig, he has been a goal machine. 21 goals in his first season, 21 goals in his second season, 20 goals in his third season. So that's pretty consistent, but then we are at the beginning of November and he already has 13 goals this season in just 15 games. If he keeps this up, he will score 35 goals this season, and he's well capable of that. Also for Germany, he already has 11 goals for in 28 games. So he's an absolute goal machine, and this 27 million release clause, I think a lot of top clubs can pay that, so it will be down to Timo Werner himself to decide which club he moves to. So it's up to Liverpool to put a good financial package on the table for him, and I think we are not really desperate for another striker, because Firmino is doing pretty well. But you have to consider that Salah, Firmino and Mane are playing so much football every season that they can potentially get injured, they can get tired, and I think it's very, very important for Liverpool to have a rotation option. Like Manchester City have 3 rotations options up front. Liverpool only have 1 or 2, maybe Origi can come in some games, Shaqiri when he's fit again, but he's still struggling with injury. Brewster, I don't think he's ready for the Premier League yet. He still needs some bulking up to do and some games in the League Cup to get more experience. So I think 27 million won't be a problem for Liverpool at all, and I think Werner could choose Liverpool because Jurgen Klopp is a fellow German, so I think that it's a very attractive proposition as well. And Bayern Munich, I'm not sure they are interested right now in Werner because they still have Lewandowski. Lewandowski at the moment looks like he could still play at the very top level for 2 or 3 years. So I think that it will be Liverpool who are one of the favorites to sign Timo Werner, and I really hope that we do. What is mind-blowing to me is that since Sadio Mane signed for Liverpool, he has never lost a game at Anfield when he played, which is absolutely crazy. He played at Anfield 51 times. He won 41 of those 51 games and drawn 10. That is absolutely crazy, honestly. In 3 years, to never lose a game with Mane in the team, it just shows how important Mane is to Liverpool and how good Liverpool have been, which is absolutely brilliant. And that bodes well for Manchester City. The last time Man City won at Anfield was almost 20 years ago. So I really hope that streak doesn't come to an end. We traditionally do well against Manchester City at Anfield, even under this great Pep Guardiola era of Manchester City, where they look like the strongest they have ever been. But Liverpool also are the strongest that they have ever been. And Guardiola actually came out with some very interesting quotes saying that the Liverpool match is not make or break for Manchester City. I think it is, but let's hear what Guardiola have to say about the game. We are going to try, but I don't think the losing to Liverpool would end our title hopes. How many centuries have they not lost at Anfield? Oh my goodness, Guardiola is so cheeky with his hypothetical questions. And Guardiola continued, "We know what happened on Saturday beyond the result. They beat Aston Villa in the last minutes. There are a lot of games to play. Many things are going to happen and there are a lot of games to play. The season is still very early. We are going to play with the best team possible to win at Atalanta, and after that we go to Anfield. Nobody can assure me that if we don't do what we have to do at Atalanta, then we are going to make a better performance against Liverpool. The best way to face Atalanta is the way we played against Southampton. The best way to go to Anfield is to play a good game against Atalanta, who have been fighting with the top clubs in Italy for the last 2 or 3 seasons. They can score 4, 5, 6 goals every game. So we are going to play with what we believe is the best team and try to qualify for the next stage of the Champions League. And I think the Atalanta game is important for Man City because if they can qualify as early as possible, they can rest quite a few players potentially in the last 2 game weeks, even though Guardiola is not really usually resting a lot of players for Manchester City, but we shall wait and see. And the very big news is that Guardiola expects David Silva, the Manchester City captain, to miss the Liverpool-Manchester City game. He said this about him: "I don't think David Silva will be fit for Anfield. I didn't speak with the doctor yet, but when he has some muscular problems and can't play more minutes, it's because he has something. And muscular problems normally mean 10 to 12 days out." This could be just mind games from Guardiola. This could be just to derail Liverpool's preparations. It's still a long way away, the Liverpool game, a full week. So I think that David Silva could potentially be fit for that one because there is not a definite medical assessment yet of David Silva, but we shall wait and see. I also wanted to say I wish Andre Gomez a speedy recovery after his horrendous leg break that he suffered in the Everton-Tottenham game. I was watching the game live on TV and I was just wincing in pain. It was mortifying to watch, and it was a very unlucky collision. Heung-min Son made a tackle. I think the red card was deserved because of the extent of the injury, even though I can understand why some people said it's not a red card, but it was because of Heung-min Son's tackle that Andre Gomez's leg was planted into the ground so unluckily, and then Serge Aurier smashed into him as well. So there were a lot of forces coming together, colliding, and it looks like at least 4, 5, maybe even 6 months out for Andre Gomez, potentially even more. So his season could potentially be over, so I wish him a speedy recovery. I just wanted to say that. So there is this Euro Club Index which ranks the best clubs in Europe in terms of their results and in recent form. And Liverpool were ranked 27th when Jurgen Klopp took over, and we were as low as 37th during Brendan Rodgers' first season at Liverpool. Bayern Munich and Juventus occupy 4th and 5th place now in the rankings. But what is really good news is that Liverpool, for the first time under Jurgen Klopp, is now first. So you could say that on form, Liverpool are the best club in Europe, the best team in Europe, which I'm very, very happy about. It's not very clear exactly what the parameters are for working out the rankings. I think it has to do with how strong a league you are playing in and also what your recent results have been. But clearly, as champions of Europe and as Liverpool relentlessly winning a lot of games in the Premier League recently, I think we should be first in the rankings, in all honesty. Manchester United are ranked at number 11, which is actually surprising to me because in the Premier League alone they are in number 10. So I think there are more than 10 better teams in Europe than Manchester United right now. I have mentioned the story in previous videos of why Martin Atkinson could potentially have a grudge against Liverpool and why he made some very controversial and very bad decisions refereeing Liverpool games previously, and also being the VAR referee in the previous game that Liverpool played at Aston Villa, where he disallowed the Firmino goal. And I found an article in The Guardian where there is a detail about this, that Steven Gerrard mentioned Martin Atkinson in particular in his autobiography, My Story, which was released in 2012. And I'm actually planning to buy that book now, just to read what he has to say. Gerrard dislikes Martin Atkinson actually the most out of all the referees that he met during his playing career. And actually, one of Gerrard's most infamous club games where we lost to Chelsea and we lost the title on that day when Gerrard slipped, and Martin Atkinson was the referee at that time, but he also was the referee when Gerrard got sent off when he was just 38 seconds after coming onto the pitch. He stamped on under Herrera of Manchester United, and Gerrard got a straight red card, which I think it was a straight red card. But what Gerrard said about Martin Atkinson, I didn't like the look of his face as the referee marched towards him when he made that stamp, and also he reached a definitive decision towards the end of the Steven Gerrard's book about Martin Atkinson, and he just said, I just can't stand him. So this is why I think Martin Atkinson holds a grudge about Liverpool and about Steven Gerrard still, and that's why I think it's not wise to make him referee Liverpool games, because if he has a personal agenda against Liverpool, then you could say he can't referee Liverpool games completely neutral, unbiased, and referees have to be neutral, have to be unbiased, otherwise you put the game you bring the game into disrepute, and there are just a lot of issues with that. So yeah, I think that is pretty clear that Gerrard maybe shouldn't have said this in his book, but you could argue that the freedom of speech certainly applies to everyone, and Gerrard was maybe entitled to voice his opinion, but he is still so closely affiliated with Liverpool that this could maybe did hurt Liverpool and Liverpool's reputation in Martin Atkinson's eyes. But I think it's pretty bad that Martin Atkinson lets this personal conflict with Steven Gerrard cloud his judgment or make him referee Liverpool games biased and not as a neutral, which I don't really like. And Adam Lallana actually said why Liverpool are so resilient and why we came back so many times to win games. Already Liverpool collected 10 points just this season after 11 games from trailing, from going behind, which is absolutely massive. And this is what Lallana said: we keep getting late goals, another 2 today against Aston Villa. We got one midweek against Arsenal, and I scored a late goal against Manchester United. The resilience and character is just there in abundance in this team. It's almost like a sixth sense, and we knew once we got one goal, then that second goal was going to come, and we got that first goal late, but we had enough time, and the deliveries from set pieces that we have in our team with Trent is such a weapon. And I fully agree, and I think that Liverpool's greatest strength is their mentality and never say die attitude, and you have to have that if you want to become a champion. You have to have that. Liverpool already won the Champions League because of this, because after being 3-0 down against Barcelona, most teams would have given up without Firmino and Salah in the second leg, without Robertson in the second half, but Liverpool would never give up, and we kept going, and we got our just rewards. And I think the reason, if Liverpool manage to win the Premier League title, will be this: that we never give up. Even when we are 1-0 down with just a few minutes to go in a game, we keep going. And I think that Liverpool certainly need to play better in future games. We certainly need to take our chances better. Scoring so many late goals is not a coincidence. Liverpool are playing like champions at the moment, but we have to keep going throughout the whole of this season if we want to get over the line. So I'm really looking forward to covering this and covering Liverpool games for you guys. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed this. See you later, goodbye.